but for someone that doesn't understand it completely, I would say it's a recruitment business with an innovative app to manage the process of the recruitment. That's the beauty of it, that the fitness industry is a very adaptable, flexible industry, is that there's not many women that are doing something like what I've done. I haven't found any other, female that's trying to do something that I've done. And yeah, to be nominated, I suppose, is a big enough deal that my hard work is recognised, and that, I'm seen to be in conversation with Pure Gym, which is one of the UK's biggest leaders in the industry for gyms.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Toned and Transformed, a podcast that is exclusively for people in the fitness industry. And in this series of episodes, we'll be talking to a lot of fitness entrepreneurs who have built businesses in the fitness industry, and we are going to get to know their success stories, their struggles, their journey, their ups and downs, so that you too can learn from them. Today we have here with us Ms. Carla Nokes, and she's the founder of the Fitness Directory. Hi, Carla.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Awesome. It's great that you accepted our invite, and you are the first person that we are doing this podcast with, and we are excited to be here.
Fantastic. It's good to be here.
Awesome. So, Carla, we'll start this episode by you talking about how you started this and where you got this idea of, the Fitness Directory, and, how you started about it. So let's hear it from you.
Okay, so I had the idea in 2019. Believe it or not, I was in Thailand. I was on holiday, brushing my teeth, and I just was in that kind of relaxed state where I just let my imagination run wild, and I come up with this idea, and I just couldn't believe, with the research that I'd done, that it hadn't been done before. So I started to investigate and have a look into seeing if there was anything like it out there, and there wasn't. So I took it upon myself to create the first innovative fitness recruitment app, which is in the UK, but we're looking to go further out the field. Once it's established here, we will then start taking it out into different countries and different regions and testing it out there. But I had the idea because I was working in the fitness industries at the time when I was 20, 21-ish, before I went on the holiday, which was about 3 weeks long. So I had a lot of time to think about all sorts of different things and my next move. And it just come about where it just popped into my head the idea of, how am I working at 4 or 5 different gyms, which I was at the time. I was working across a few different gyms, different brands, and I was like, there's more than enough fitness instructors. It's just, how are they not finding the work, and why are they not advertising it properly? So I put 2 and 2 together, come up with the idea, and we did a little sample last year in September to see if it would be successful and if I should continue to invest my own money into it, which I have been doing throughout the whole process on my own. And it's definitely worthwhile, and it's something that is needed to tackle the staffing issues in the fitness industry.
Right. That's awesome. And when you started, were you into fitness before you got this idea, or how did this specific idea pop into your head? Was it because you've been into fitness for a long time, or you have friends who are in the same mindset? So how did that happen?
So I've been playing tennis since I could walk, and from my tennis background, obviously I've been very sporty, and the training behind tennis also involves being in the gym. So when I left school, I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer, and that's how I ended up working in the gyms. And I'd get a phone call literally every day of the week, or every 3 or 4 times a week, asking, are you in a role at the moment? Do you have work, by all these recruitment companies? And I just couldn't believe that they just couldn't find staff to come and work for them. So I added 2 and 2 together with being for sporty and fitness, and ended up in the PT industry. And I also had a bit of a niche as well, because I specialised in sports injuries. So that was my background. I also had shoulder surgery, so I then started to think, if I'm not able to lift weights and I'm not able to demonstrate how people should do exercises, what can I do to obviously have a career and generate money? So that's how the education side of the business came about, because I started to train up to be a teacher. So that's how we now have the fitness education side of the business as well.
Right. That's a very great start, because like since you were into tennis and you were basically conscious of how you put your health together, so it is kind of a spark that you segued into a form where you actually are trying to help multiple people who are trying to get their fitness journey started. So I think that's pretty great. And when you started this, who was the one who like was really supportive and was like, Carla, you should be doing this? Some like, there'll be parents, there'll be friends, there'll be family, like who was the one who initially said like, yeah, this is something that you should actually take action on?
Mainly my father, to be honest. I mean, he doesn't really actually understand what's going on and the ins and outs and what it's actually taken to get this up and running and off the ground, but he's incredibly supportive. Where I come to him and I say, oh, I've got to go and spend this money and invest this money to do this. What do you think I should do? And he's never ever said, no, don't do this, or don't do that, or don't try this. Even if it might be expensive or it might be risky, he's always said, yeah, go for it and do it. And he's always been supportive. And he's kind of like my comfort blanket for if everything does fail, that it's okay. And he'll help me together and we'll repair. And it's really good and healthy to have that kind of support, because it doesn't feel like you've got a massive pressure to achieve. Obviously everyone wants to achieve, but sometimes you might not achieve the first time. It might take a couple of tries or different approaches, and a lot of money will be lost on the process, no doubt. You might pay for things that you might not even use. But yeah, he's been incredibly supportive.
Right. Awesome. So when you want to explain your product to somebody, right? Like, for example, I'm asking you, like, what do you do? Or like, what does your company do? If you wanted to explain it in layman terms, right? Like for them to easily understand, like how Steve Jobs actually basically tells, like explain it to someone where you're explaining to a grandma about the technology, right? It should be that simple. How would you simply put your product to be?
Well, for grandma, I would probably describe it in a different way, to say, for example, yourself, like I said earlier, that it's more like an Uber service for fitness instructors to find work, and vice versa with the gyms finding someone to come and work for them. It's that kind of setup. But for someone that doesn't understand it completely, I would say it's a recruitment business with an innovative app to manage the process of the recruitment.
Right. So there is a huge demand for like fitness centers to find trainers. Is that a big problem in the US or in the UK, or is it like a common across the globe?
This is a problem across the globe, actually. I think with personal trainers not getting paid as much in the industry anymore, I know that there's a massive figure of them. Obviously in the UK, there's about 300,000 fitness qualified instructors. So that's across different qualifications like spinning, Zumba, body pump, PTs and gym instructors. All these different qualifications, there's about 300,000 of them just in the UK. So there is more than enough people to do the jobs. The issue is, are they getting paid enough to do these jobs, and are these jobs giving them enough flexibility to earn more money elsewhere? And the answer is no. So if you are employed by a gym, say for example, David Lloyd in the UK, you might be given literally minimum wage for having a certification. You're paid for skills, and you're getting paid the same as a cleaner to be qualified to do something, and it just doesn't make any sense. And this is why a lot of people don't bother, because for the same money that you can see 3 clients a day, you have to work an 8-hour shift in a gym. It doesn't make any financial sense. So for that reason, a lot of people, either they move away from personal training, even though it might be their passion. They go, okay, there's not money in it, so they end up going to do like a sales job, 9 to 5. But now with like this cost of living crisis that we are experiencing in the UK at the moment, the demand for this app is more than ever, because it gives people the opportunity to earn an additional income around their own schedule and their flexibility. And that's the beauty of it, that the fitness industry is a very adaptable, flexible industry. And the companies and employees like David Lloyd and Virgin Active, they don't want it to be that way. They want to employ their staff for 40 hours to be on a gym floor, and then they say, okay, you can now personal train your clients in your own working hours after you've done 40 hours a week. And if you want to have a life and have a social time and be able to enjoy the money that you just earned the whole week, there's no way that there's a healthy balance with that.
Right. So your entire vision of the company is to have happy trainers who can train people happily, right?
My ethos is to make the fitness industry as flexible as possible and meet the demands of either side. So, there's demands for personal trainers, but then there's demands for personal trainers to work in the gyms. And it's about getting that balance and making sure that both sides of the spectrum are happy and not taking, ridiculously money for it, because I don't need to. I don't have a massive team. The app does everything that it needs to do itself, billing the clients and paying the instructors. So I don't need a massive team of 50 people to do that. And because our advertisement is jobs posting, we do have a small data entry team that deals with that and vetting the CVs to make sure that these people are obviously compliant and who they say they are. But other than that, I don't have a ridiculous amount of people calling up and chasing up people every day, asking them if they want work, because the app's there. When there's a job in their area, they get notified and they can accept or decline it.
Right. That's actually good, because like when you try to fix a problem that makes people happy, you obviously have a good product. And when you had this idea of starting this, and you found out there is a demand for such a big product, and you actually started building a team and you started building the product yourself, did you find a team of people who are having the same vision as you? How did you go about building a team and having an idea of building an app, or like how did that happen?
So a lot of everything that I've done has been from trying to educate myself. I've been doing like countless amounts of research and always asking people that I know, like, do you know someone that's an app developer? Do you know someone that does social media? Do you know someone that knows someone in this country or that country? Always, using different tools and channels of finding the right people to speak to for the right things. Obviously at the beginning I just had this idea and I didn't know how to make it to come to life. It was just an idea, and the more that I spoke to different people about my idea, and you've got to be careful as well when you do have ideas that haven't been made, that no one obviously steals your idea, which was a scary thought as well. It took me about 5 years to actually get something that looks like it's a product ready to be used. And I thought, oh my God, in these 5 years, like, someone could have stolen my idea and done it. A big company like Gymshark could have cottoned onto the idea and done it first. And obviously they're a well-known company. They would literally just destroy whatever I come up with because they're known and I'm not. So there was that kind of fear as well. But I managed to speak to enough people and do enough research. And it's taken hours and hours of time to come up with the things that I know now, like hours and hours. And I do now give that information to people that do need it, because I feel like I need to pay back what was given to me information wise, that people have helped me along the line. But developers and stuff like that, I did have to source out and find them, because it was quite a specialist product. It needs to be made from scratch. Some of the algorithms and stuff has had to be coded from the beginning. And even some of these people that are doing these things for the first time as well, and it's just trial and error. So yeah, it's just been having conversations with people and just narrowing it down to the right people at the end of the day as well. You've just got to test and sample. I've had a lot of people that haven't been the right people to help me, and it's cost me money as well. I've lost money in the process, but that's the journey. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes.
Right. So you have to just be with the ups and downs of the entire process, and that is actually the fun part when you have something on your own. And when you start something, you obviously have to think about the capital that you're going to put in, and you obviously have a lot of cost that involves. Like, even if you have your friends helping you out, or you want to build something that is going to be of genuine good product, that is of good quality, you need people, you need to burn cash. How did you go about putting money into the company? Did you look for loans? Did you look for investors? How do you, because like initially you would have started with your family, obviously, but obviously you had to have more money to put into the company. How did that happen?
So well, I was 19, 20 when I first had the idea, and obviously my income at that age was limited. In England we have thresholds for how much you can earn on minimum wage, etc., for different age groups. So until you're about 23, you can only earn the actual adult minimum wage, which I think was about £10 an hour at the time. And even with my gym instructing and personal training qualification, it wasn't paying enough. I think I was on like £9.50 an hour, but I'd work so many hours that it would be more. So I didn't have any costs like paying rent to my father or anything like that, because he didn't believe in me having this idea, funding my tennis, because I was paying for my own tennis lessons and tennis equipment. And he had always supported me with my tennis until I got to about 16, when I decided I was going to pay for everything myself. So I ended up getting another gym job, and I was working at 2 different gym companies, and I'd make sure that I could rota sensibly so that I could be at one gym until like lunchtime, leave that gym, and then go to my other gym job until literally like 11 p.m. at night. So I was doing like 16-hour days in the gym, but it was quite good because they were paying me to look after the gym, make sure it was clean. But I had access to a computer, I had access to printer, and therefore I was able to actually sit down after I'd done the gym cleaning, which takes like 30 minutes, get on the laptop, start doing all this kind of research into my idea and everything like that. And I do thank for those jobs that allowed me, obviously there were long days, like 16-hour days, but I was able to sit down behind a computer and use some of that time as my own to be able to make the idea come to life, or see if it was even possible. So I was doing those 2 jobs, and then I invested my money to qualify in sports injuries. So I was the youngest person, I think, in the UK to get a level 5 clinical injuries. It's not a degree, but it's a high cert. It's a very high cert here, especially if you're 19. You don't really get those kind of certifications, and it's almost like a doctorate that you've got to write about the human anatomy in such a way that you get the marks to pass. And I managed to do it at 19 years old, and I was in clinics basically treating people's injuries, and that's what I specialized in the gym. So I was doing personal training specifically for people's injuries, and then I was also doing like the physio side of stuff as well in the treatment rooms. So that obviously enabled me to earn a lot more money, to the point that I was getting like £40 an hour at 19 years old, living at home, and I had minimal outgoings. So I started investing in a website, started investing in research to find a developer. And back then, even though I was earning all this money, £40 an hour, I was quoted £80,000 for an app to be made for scratch from what I'd asked for. And I was just like deflated. I was like, I can't do that. That's just far too much money. It's almost enough money to buy a house, £80,000, massive risk. I spoke to my dad about it, and it wasn't a risk that he could take, because he's also got my brother and sister to think about, who are a little bit younger than me. And my parents had gone through a divorce as well, and he's only just financially recovered from that. And I was just like, I didn't want to take any money off him. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll find a way. I'll look at it in a different aspect. So this is why I ended up coming up with the education side of things. So I was like, okay, the app can't happen now, but say for example we offer a different service with the business under the same name, and I go and get trained as a teacher. So that's what I did next. I went and trained as a teacher to offer education for the business. got qualified. And then as soon as I was qualified, because you put your CVs on these different platforms, and I'd updated my CV, and I got a phone call saying, oh, we're looking for a teacher to teach personal training courses. Are you available? And I thought, do you know what? I could do it, because then it's going to give me experience to make my business better when I actually go and do it. Because otherwise I wouldn't have actually known what I was doing, offering these courses, but not knowing, what to do. And I don't believe in offering products that are not of good quality. So that's why I went and I started teaching in education. And I've only actually just finished teaching in education 2 weeks ago. So I've been doing it for nearly 3 years now in education. But it was a massive, substantial amount of money I was getting, because the teachers are in such demand here, that I was doing it on an agency basis. And from there, I decided I was going to invest every penny that I could into the business to make this app come alive. So literally all it has been was from working. All the foundations and the funding for the app has been from going to work for the last 5 years.
That's actually really inspirational, because like to be able to fund the entire company with just taking your time and doing multiple jobs, that's really great to hear, and we applaud you from our end. And the one thing that I also was concerned about was how you managed to tackle the time during COVID. Like, was COVID a very good throttle or a propulsion for people to be more interested in fitness, and the market for people who actually trained on a regular basis increased when they started being home and they wanted to do something? Did that have any actual impact in the way your business was started?
So yeah, when COVID happened, it was a bit of like a whirlwind. It was almost like I was in a movie. It was just so strange, and I look back at it now and it doesn't even feel like it was all real, but it's helped me to get to where I am today. So the business wasn't really alive in COVID. It was just kind of like working hard behind the scenes on it. And then I decided to start looking into doing the clothing side of things, because everyone was staying at home. And therefore I was like, oh, okay, let's get some gym, stuff out there, gym kits, gym sets, because everyone's going to be doing workouts at home. And if people are getting paid furlough and they weren't working and they're at home and they're not spending money on travel and stuff like that, I thought, okay, great, they're going to have money to buy fitness clothing. Problem was, because of Brexit, etc., it made it really expensive to import clothing or stock of any kind of measurements over to England, because the tax was just crazy high. Literally each product that might be like 200 grams is charged at nearly $4 just for the tax. It's really, really expensive. So the items have to be sold at quite a high price. But initially I started off getting samples in and seeing what those samples look like, and I actually made this logo myself for the brand. I come up with it, I designed it, and I just wanted to see what it looked like on clothing. And I just looked at it and I was like, do you know what? It looks really professional, really smart, eye-catching. And now, even if I walk about it and I haven't talked about the fitness directory to these people, someone came up to me in the gym the other day and just was like pointing at the logo, like, oh, where's that from? So that's really, really good to see that people like notice it and they like it without me having to say anything about it. It's almost like they've seen it, but it doesn't belong to me kind of thing. They're like, oh, I like that. Where did you get that from? And they don't know that it's mine.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Has it become recognizable right now? Like people, recognize the logo as of now?
Not quite yet, because obviously my main focus is on getting the app up and running. The clothing is gonna be my second thing to do on the list, because we're gonna offer it as kind of like a uniform, something smart like this, to where when they go into the gyms and do a gym shift, so that they look like their staff, but also it's quite stylish as well and it's comfortable.
Right.
So yeah, that's the plan, but not quite yet.
Right. And I hope it becomes a home brand so that everybody, starts using it. And I think a lot of women entrepreneurs have started building their own businesses, and the same is in entire global scenario. And you are young, first of all. I think you are 24, if I'm not wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're 24, and you are kicking it in the business. How is the entire being a woman, and putting through all the struggle, and how has that been?
Well, what I see myself is that there's not many women that are doing something like what I've done. I haven't found any other, female that's trying to do something that I've done, and I pat myself on the back for that entirely. Normally, this kind of fitness industry and the part that I've tried to tap into would have been seen to have been done by a man, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone thought that if they called up the fitness directory and they thought a man was going to answer the phone. I wouldn't be surprised, because it's probably unimaginable that a woman could think and come up with something and make this kind of idea come to life, especially at my age as well. And this is why I think I was nominated for an award in the UK for like young entrepreneur or young enterprise. I didn't win it, but I don't know why. I should have won it, honestly. I was really upset. I was like, who is working harder than me? Like,
was it like under 23? Like under age 23?
Under 25s, yeah. So I've got a bit of time. Okay. I can go for it again, but I'm bitter about it now. I'm like,
right.
I'm not bothering.
You still have a year to go. Maybe next year. Yeah,
exactly. But I was really upset. I was like, I can't believe it. I was like, who is there working harder than me? Who's doing this? What are they doing that's harder than me? I don't know. Right. But yeah, to be nominated, I suppose, is a big enough deal that my hard work is recognised, and that I'm seen to be putting in the hard work out of thousands of people, obviously, in that category. And I think I was nominated for like the top 3, so I should really be proud of that. But other women, I think, doing what I'm doing, and I'm always underestimated as well, being a woman. And I think maybe that's why a lot of women are also put off starting up business ideas, whether it's the fitness industry or any industry. I think they are slightly worried or put off about how much money it takes, how much money they can actually physically invest, and how much they are willing to give as well. I think at my age, it's not easy. A lot of sacrifices had to be made, and I think actually COVID did help me make a lot of those sacrifices, that we weren't allowed to go out and see our friends and stuff like that, so we had to stay at home and save our money. But yeah, I can imagine for women it is difficult to come up with an idea and make it come to life, because I think females have a more expensive lifestyle, unfortunately, just from basic needs. Right. To be able to do day-to-day things. Everything else costs a lot more money for us. You go to Tesco's and our shampoo products and toiletries are more expensive than men's stuff, and our hair appointments and this and this and that. So therefore I don't think people will bother starting up and investing their money in these kind of things, because they just can't afford to. Right. Even so, now if I come up with the idea now in my life, like literally this day today, come up with the idea, I don't think I would be going through with it, because we've got this cost of living crisis. No one's got any extra cash. I've got 2 mortgages to also pay, and the interest rates are going up so crazy. It's just like people are in survival mode rather than thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to start up a business, because there's too much risk.
Right. I understand. You told me that you are in partnership with a lot of these big players in the market, and they see you young and energetic coming into their offices and pitching your ideas, and they are really excited to listen to your ideas and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about how your business partnerships are and how you're trying to expand your product.
So at the moment, we're in conversations with lots of small gyms, privately owned, but we're also in conversation with Pure Gym, which is one of the UK's biggest leaders in the industry for gyms. They are trying to open new gyms every year, about 30 gyms in the UK. And they've got a few gyms in Europe and also in America that they've just started to expand and branch out to. And the conversations that we are having are about how we can help them with their staffing solutions for these new gyms that are opening, or with their current staffing issues now, which we've already identified that they do have a shortage of probably one staff member in every gym in the UK. So that's the first conversation that we're having. The second conversation I'm having with them is about how we can help them with their education side of things, because their pathway for employees are that they want their workers to have a level 3 personal training qualification, although they do accept trainers that have a level 2 certification, but they need to be working towards their level 3. So that will work by them enrolling their employees onto our level 3 personal training course, to then get them further qualified to be more employable by them. So the conversation is just how, do we make that work, and how will Pure Gym make it work to make them profit as well. So yeah, it's an exciting times ahead, and lots of negotiations going on for how it can work for both parties, and also for the instructors that could be working for them and for us.
Right. That's great. And how did it feel when you were like actually sitting with big players in the market, and you, as you built this thing from scratch, and how did you go about having that experience? Was it good?
The thing is, I was just in the right time at the right place to have this kind of conversation, because it came about that Pure Gym had actually contacted the college that I was working at. So I was working at this college, and we offer the personal training courses there.
So they reached out to you. It was not you reached out to them.
So they contacted the place that I was working at, the college.
Right.
And from there, my college said, Carla, can you sit in this meeting? Because it was to do with my students. And I said, yeah, of course. And obviously when I heard it was Pure Gym, and it was one of the big hiring managers, it was the recruitment manager of Pure Gym, I instantly, my heart was going like this, and I was just like, how do I play this? How do I get a chance to tell them about my idea when I'm having to actually just be professional in the job that I'm working currently,
right,
and hear what they've got to say about why they're coming to the college. So I had the conversation about why they was coming to the college. I gave them an information that they needed, and then at the end of the meeting, because there was other people in the room that were working with me who don't really know about my business idea, and it wasn't really appropriate to just throw it out across the table at them. So I just kind of caught the guy and pulled him to one side to have a little conversation about, can I have your contact details and give you a call tomorrow about something that I've been working on? And then I had that call with him the day after, and he literally paused, and when I told him the idea, he went very quiet, and then all of a sudden he was like, yeah, I might be able to help you. It's an amazing idea. And then like the momentum came along after that, and I was just like, is he just saying it's a good idea, or is he actually like
right.
Gonna give it to HQ? He said he's passed it on to HQ are negotiating and thinking about it, and we're just waiting for a response to see what they say and how we can help them.
Awesome. So when you said like you were in the right place at the right time, so it actually is kind of
putting the right place at the right time.
Yeah. So I also want to know a little bit about how your app works. Like, can you just tell me, not revealing much about, because like the product is not actually fully live, so I don't want you to give anything very revealing information, but something a little understanding of how the product works, so that we can visualize how it is going to come out.
So what it is you'll have a portal. So the instructor and the venue, so Pure Gym, for example, would have their own portal, and that might be a portal for every different Pure Gym, with the general manager having access to that. And if Pure Gym have a staffing issue one day and they need someone to come and do a spinning class for them with short notice, they will just go on the app, they will post that they require someone to come and work for them on that day. They'll fill in the form, which we've already put like most of the details in, so that it's easy to follow and user friendly. they press post, and then after that, someone who's an instructor that's qualified in the area will get a notification to say there's a job in your area, would you like to apply for it? And they will just accept or decline. And then after that, the Pure Gym will accept someone's application and send them the details of what they require them to do, something about, location. A lot of it's already got Google Maps involved in it, so they don't need to give too much information about location unless they want them to go to a specific gate or specific entrance for the workers. Maybe they might say, we've got food on shift for you, so you don't need to bring your own food.
Right.
Just, they give them a communication pathway so that they can speak to the instructor about what they require them to do. When the instructor has completed that day, the app will automatically bill for the client to pay for the work of the instructor. And then a week later, the instructor is paid for the work. And then they get the opportunity to also give each other a rating for how they was to work for them and how it was for the worker to work for the client.
Right. That was amazing. Like I can now actually see how the product is going to be used by a gym. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything, like what the fitness directory is all about. And I wish you all success, and everybody at Reach Skyline wishes you all success in the future. And we hope all the good things that are potentially going to happen to you much faster than you expect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Carla. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you.